Today's lesson is on prepositional phrases in various positions, and it can be found in CS number 95. Prepositional phrases can be included in the beginning, the middle, or the end of a sentence. So if we look at our first one, the thief darted through the door in a flash. So we technically have two prepositional phrases here. We have through the door and in a flash, but in a flash is the one that we're going to move. So we could have it at the end, right? In a flash. Notice that it is separated by a comma. You could also have the same prepositional phrase at the beginning of the sentence. In a flash, the thief darted through the door. Once again, there is a comma separating it from the rest of the sentence. And just like in a positive, in our final example, it has a comma on either side. The thief in a flash darted through the door. So you notice that each one carries its own emphasis, and so as a writer, you might choose different ones for different circumstances. Now, you do have to be careful that the meaning works, because if we look at the sentence, the woman looked at the painting with the brown jacket. This could actually give the impression that the painting is wearing a jacket, because this is our preposition and our prepositional phrase. So in this sentence, it needs to go after the woman. The woman with the brown jacket looked at the painting. So just be mindful of whether it actually misconstrues the meaning of your sentence. Section A is going to give you a series of sentences that all start with the word we. We saw, we ran, we felt, we biked, we visited, we took, we crowded. They're going to ask you to rearrange the phrases in the sentence to give it more variety. So the first thing to do is to look at where is the prepositional phrase. So we have the easiest one to move is probably in Nova Scotia, right? In is our preposition in Nova Scotia. We saw some whales during our trip in Nova Scotia. You have multiple options here, so we could put it at the beginning. In Nova Scotia, we saw some whales during our boat trip. We could also put in Nova Scotia into the middle of our sentence. We saw some whales in Nova Scotia during our boat trip. Now, this is not the only two options. We also have a second prepositional phrase, during our boat trip. So we could put that at the beginning of our sentence. During our boat trip, we saw some whales in Nova Scotia. Now, this might sound a little bit more awkward because the in Nova Scotia sounds like a bit of a tag on that maybe should be closer to like during our boat trip, but it technically is correct. We could also put during our boat trip at the end. We saw some whales in Nova Scotia during our boat trip. Now, you do not need to come up with all of the different options for each question. You just need to come up with one, but I just wanted to show you how many different possibilities there are for each question. Part B is going to ask you to move the phrases to clarify the meaning of the sentence. In the sentence, there is some pop for our guests in the fridge. It actually almost sounds like your guests are in the fridge. So to make this clear, you could move the prepositional phrase to the beginning. In the fridge, there is some pop for our guests. As always, there will be a Google form attached to this assignment, so you can share a couple of your rewritten sentences. And feel free to reach out if you need any help.